You're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. And just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
That's right. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm all right. I'm doing good.
That's good. You know, a little while back, I love discovering about new TTRPG systems.
Oh, yeah?
And I recently discovered one that I think is a really interesting concept. It's based off of Bluebeard.
Ooh.
You know that fairy tale?
I mean, I've heard the name Bluebeard before, but I don't remember it being a fairy tale.
Okay, so for those who don't know, the story of Bluebeard is basically about, and this is like Victorian era or something like that, where this young girl gets married off to a much older guy. It was back then.
Classic.
But he's filthy rich.
Of course.
And he has a blue beard. And he's known to go through like many different wives. But he has high standing and all that stuff. So usually people sell their daughters, basically.
Of course.
But, and then he's like, hey, new bride, I'm going to go on a business trip. Here are like all the keys to the house. And you could go in any room you want, except for this one room. Don't go in there. Bye. And then she basically goes around to different rooms and all that stuff. This huge banner. But that whole like women's curiosity, the Pandora's box, you're not supposed to do this, but then you want to do it.
That just makes me want to do it more.
She opens the door, finds out that it's filled with the bodies of all the previous wives.
Oh my.
And she's very scarred by it because she's a young, innocent girl.
Yeah.
And when the husband comes back home, Bluebeard comes back home, she's unable to hide the fact that she looked into the room because you can't look at him the same way kind of thing.
Right.
He finds out, kills her. That's the end of the story.
Oh. I actually think I may have read a book series loosely based on that because Bluebeard, I think, was the name of the guy. His last name, of course, his family name in that.
Yeah.
But it was like, I honestly don't remember the name of the books at all. It was just one of the many, many books I read in my spare time because I love to read.
But, so I found out that there was a tabletop system based off of that.
Oh, neat.
But it's more like designed for a one-shot.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be where the players will be playing different parts of the psyche of the bride.
Oh, interesting.
So like there's different archetypes or something like that where it's like there's the virtuous one, the courageous one, the fearful one. It's like it's like Inside Out.
Yeah.
In the psyche. And it's supposed to be like a feminine psychological horror kind of game.
Interesting.
It's all of them controlling one body. And then there's a way for it just to pass turns to different like players so that they could control the body for one action.
Oh.
And I thought it was really interesting. But then I was like, oh, you don't make this a really interesting thing is if you heavily homebrew it, like I like to do, but instead of having it in this manner or anything like that, I'm like, what happens if you take that kind of mechanic or system and put it in like Call of Cthulhu, where it's eldritch horror and the sanity of like these eldritch things?
Yeah.
Because it's like the health system or anything like that is like part of breaking your psyche.
Yeah.
And like, I think there's a couple of mechanics in it where it's like, if you could justify how that's okay, and I think you roll for it or something like that, then you don't lose health, or it's like your sanity. And if you get to 0, then that part of your psyche breaks.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, that would be a really interesting kind of thought for sanity when it comes to Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
So I was telling Tyler about it, my local Call of Cthulhu fan.
Yeah. Everyone needs one.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. But I was telling him about this idea, and he's like, yeah, that sounds cool. I don't know anything about that system. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about buying it, but I've been spending too much money, so I need to cut back right now.
Ain't that just how it be?
That we're broke? Yes, because we're not rich.
Because we live in a consumerism world where you always have to spend money.
Oh, I thought it
on
was because
things.
we're working class.
Oh yeah, that too. I spend all my money on things that are just fun.
I spent it on debt, food, so I don't die, and rent.
Oh yeah, that too. It's fun to, continue to surviving in this world, so you gotta spend it on that as well.
Well, we're millennials. It's not exactly fun to survive in this world.
I'm having fun.
It's that standard millennial humor.
Yeah, I know. I'm not
Yeah,
a standard millennial though.
I am. I'm depressed. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so I like to just talk about new systems I randomly hear or anything like that.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And I don't know if we'll ever actually do it because it's designed for one shot. I could possibly like get a few people and we could run it
That'd be
if I
interesting.
learn how to do it. If you guys are actually interested in hearing something like a one shot like that, let us know down in the comments or message us on any social.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we'll look into it. I don't know about editing because last week's episode I learned a lot about editing long form actual play and it was not fun.
I got to listen to it as it was happening, like periodically every few days. This is so long. There's so much to edit. Ah.
Also, I put a lot more effort into it. You could tell
Yeah.
that I did voice changing and I put in effort. So it was our 100th. So I was like, I
Something special.
gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again. Well, I'll complain more about it in our anniversary episode.
Yeah, that's coming up soon.
Yep. Anyways, I guess we'll just do a regular quest.
Yeah.
You got dice?
I got them. Have we already done 100?
We have.
Oh.
Because that was the minor dispute between two elven houses. That was the
Yeah.
build a fence and all that stuff.
Yeah, build a wall.
That was episode 18, by the way.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of that episode. But we're going down.
Clearly, because we can't
Obviously.
go up.
We already did 99.
Oh, we did?
Yes,
Oh.
that was episode 42. That was the old mill. That was the arachnophobia episode.
Oh, yeah.
98 is not one that we have not done. So, seasoned adventurers needed. Writer/bard here. Tell me the tales of your great adventures. I need some inspiration for my books/songs. Payment will be determined by how good your stories are.
Oh, no, not this again.
What do you mean?
Like the comedic duo one that we did earlier. We have to come up with stories for them.
Oh, right. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I blocked that out of my memory.
We're doing it again.
No, we'll make it better.
Okay.
Because I had an idea.
All right.
What if, like, under some kind of magical spell or something like that, it's like later in the campaign, higher level people, that already been through stuff, right?
Yeah, by the time they have some good stories to tell.
They would tell the story, but as they're starting to tell it, there's this magical aura where it causes them to basically hallucinate or like relive that moment.
Oh.
And I don't know how much we'll add to this, but then you basically tell your party, you have to level down yourself to when you were that level, fight it again with a ghost version of the writer to experience it like you did.
Oh, that's interesting. What if throughout the campaign, every session, you take a copy of people's character sheets?
I don't know.
Just
like, it
say
depends
it
on how the group works.
For record keeping and things like that. You like ask for a screenshot if it's a digital one, or just
and then,
like take a copy of their physical one.
And then you could print off.
Yeah. And then you just hand them their sheet from that story.
That would make things a lot easier for your players.
Yeah.
But okay.
But that's the DM side of things. Like
I feel like this is a good idea.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
But we don't have anything to add because it's just all previous stories that the players had. That's something we can't plan.
Well, here's a fun thought. What if the writer/bard is actually some sort of magical being that's actually giving them a second chance to go back and actually change their past? So, like, I want to hear a story where you regret what happened. Tell me about that. And then they get to go back and actually change what happened. And that changes the story moving forward, too.
Okay.
Because in every story, there's regrets. There's always regrets.
Okay, so you're saying like this will be a ability where it actually changes time itself.
Yeah.
So like the first one,
And there may or may not be consequences from that too.
so like I imagine like if the first one was like a fight,
Yeah.
right? Like they always like to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts back and you're having the players fight it all over again
Mm-hmm.
at that level. And then you had one of them like lose an arm. When you cut back, that person still has their arm gone. And you're like, you have to tell the players, your arm was always missing. Or do you want where they have the memory of like, I didn't lose my arm, but now I lost my arm?
I was thinking they'd get the arm back. Like, if they're telling the story of
no,
how
no,
they
no.
lost their arm.
I think it'll be a mixture of both, but this is a way to emphasize, hey, whatever you do in the past, it affects the
Impacts
present.
future or present, yeah.
But I think this really depends on the DM, on their choice.
Okay.
But okay, I think we need to establish, does the players know the past has changed, or do they act like it's always been that way and it's out of character, they know that it just changed?
Ooh, that would be interesting.
You know what I mean?
I think to the characters themselves, that's just always how it's been. But the players would always know.
This is the weird thing. I think it'll be more interesting if the characters knew that it changed, because it'll cause them to justifiably freak out. But
Gotcha.
if that happens first, there's a good chance that they'll just not tell any more stories.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
But then that's when you could like, as the bard writers, like, now tell me something you regret. And then kind of imply that's
Oh.
like, you could change
okay.
negative things that happen. So the first one has to be something that's bad towards them to like set the tone.
Yeah.
And but then you chime in for the second one. It's like, now tell me something you regret. Is there anything that like anyone you lost?
Anything you wish didn't happen.
Yes.
Tell me that story. And then
And
they'll be
then-
like,
Oh, this is a
Wait.
thing we could do.
so the first one, like, if it's the loss of a limb or something, well, we can't exactly say exactly what each story is going to be because
Yeah, you
we
have
have no
to
idea
plan
what's going to
this.
happen in the campaign. But if it is some like drastic loss of something that a character actually misses,
I think
they could have a chance to get it back.
I think it depends on what the players choose as their first story.
Yeah.
Because they
It really does. It could be anything.
could say anything.
Yeah.
But I would say if you want to do on the fly of them talking about like a random shopping spree,
Yeah.
you could skew things so that anything they did that's changed or different, then you could say that angered someone and then they stab you,
Oh.
you know?
Yeah.
And then it will be cut back and then
They have a new
you
scar.
then you say, you notice that now you have a scar here or
Mhm.
whatever. And that kind of sets the tone still. Like you could just make up whatever. It's really bouncing off of what's their first story they choose.
Yeah. But they realize that telling these stories is giving them a chance to change the past,
Yeah.
which actually could have really interesting repercussions for like the story moving forward. Maybe other people, like higher beings who have a lot of power, notice this change and notice that these changes are centered around the party.
Yes, this one could be very much branched off of as a consequence for this.
Yeah.
It could be that.
Or like a Time Lord shows up and is like, you changed the past. Now you must die.
This could be
Or
a
the-
great chance of
the
if the
TVA
party
shows up.
screws up
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I could make them fix that thing and then we're back on track for my original campaign idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But I also thought what they could do as a repercussion of this is I am a firm believer of the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
Small changes tend to escalate into bigger things.
Oh, shoot.
So if you save someone, but then someone else dies, that could just domino effect into something else. You could really monkey paw yourself
Yes.
of like how far back this happened. And you could justify some string of events that then leads to something big that the party now has to deal with.
Right. And you can always
Or they have to run back to the bard and it's like retell that story to then fix
it
the
again.
Then this turns into just the Ashton Kutcher's Butterfly Effect movie. If you ever saw that movie.
No, I haven't.
He has like journals and he keeps going to specific points in his childhood
Mm.
and keeps doing something different, and his present keeps changing
Interesting.
until he tries to get to one point where he's good, like his present is good, and it's
Fascinating.
really interesting.
Um,
Not a great movie, but
Eh.
I mean, there's so many different things, but the problem is we don't really get to add much.
no, this is all really dependent on what stories the players choose to tell the writer slash bard. It can be whatever the DM wants to go with. Are they writing songs or are they writing books?
Okay, actually, real quick, at the end it says payment will be determined how good your stories are. Should we say the payment is you get to fix your past? That's
Pretty
the
much.
payment?
Yeah, and
So
it's
it's
like
not like monetary or anything?
the better, juicier stories that you get to fix, that's a better payment right there. So I had a thought. This is just purely like for the DM's setup and everything.
Everything here is for the DM.
I know.
So.
But you can end your session right as they finish telling the story and realize that things have changed. And then you have your time in between to really create that monkey's paw effect of what's going to happen. Because you have no idea what they're going to do.
Okay, what I'd be worried about for that one is okay, the first story over, and then they realize, oh, I lost my hand or whatever, it changed the past.
Yeah.
If you leave them at that, it gives them a week or however
no,
long.
not that. Leave them after the second story.
Oh, okay. So, because I was worried about like them being paranoid and not wanting to continue because of that, and you don't get the whole, now tell me something you regret.
Yeah, no, that happens, and then after they tell that story and fix that thing they regret is when you're like, all right, see you next time.
True.
And then that gives you all that time to be like, all right, how can I screw them over with this?
Well, to be fair, if you want to do all the stories,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Well, I
oh,
was
we're
thinking of only
done.
giving them one thing that they can change, really. Like, there's the initial, here's how this works, and then there's the, okay, now what do you really want to change?
I would give them multiple, like the entire session. That will be it.
Yeah,
Because I feel like if any of them is a fight, that's gonna be a good chunk of the session.
it
Anyways.
really is.
So I would say that entire session will be
Just however
time
many,
travel, like
gotcha.
changes,
However many you can fit in a session.
and then after the session, it gives you all the time to think about what happened.
It's kind of like your recap episode.
Sure, except for not, because you're just changing things.
Exactly.
Anyways, I'm really curious on like how the party would react.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, but
This is another one of those player dependent quests.
well,
Like, it's not really
any
even a quest.
TTRPG is player dependent.
Yeah.
You can't play by yourself.
But you can't like kind of figure out a timeline of events. It's really just they're telling stories and you're going to do stuff because of it.
Yeah, it's whatever they remembered.
Mm-hmm. And for this to even work in a campaign, take really good notes. Make sure you know what level they were when they did these things so you can actually have the various character sheets to hand to them and be like, all right, here's your sheet. Like maybe each time they level up, you
Yeah.
ask for a copy of their character sheet from the previous level. Because
I
like it
feel
might
like-
be a little bit off, but
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like this one is going to be very much you have to plan this way ahead of time and
Yeah.
be aware.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be kind of hard. I'm sorry for the DM for this, but
Maybe-
I think it will really like impress your players with this.
It really would.
But it'll be extremely hard because you don't know what story they'll tell, and
No.
so you have to make sure to remember what story they're telling and what level they were.
Yeah. So always like take notes about every story arc you go on, everything that happens. Throw lots of big loopholes at them. Throw dire consequences at them because they will later have a chance to go back and rewrite that.
If you plan for a retcon like this, then you could actually.
You can kill off an entire player.
Well, you
Character,
could
not the player.
kill off so many
Yeah,
people.
don't kill your players,
and-
only kill their characters.
Well, not even that, because then that makes it a complicated mess. I'm thinking about like
Exactly.
important, valuable NPCs or anything like that,
Oh, yes.
because then they'll feel like they could rescue them
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that.
But if they survive, then all heck breaks loose.
And that's for you to determine in your world what happens.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, it's hard for us to contribute any more to this.
It's like, is it literally heck breaking loose or is it just a little bit of chaos?
I don't know. And it depends on the campaign. It
really
really
does.
does.
But it definitely seems like a fun, hey, let's throw everything on end type of situation. almost as fun as throwing in the deck of many things.
Actually, real quick, what is the name of the Bard Rider? Let's give him a name.
Let's see. Gideon Fitzpatrick.
Gideon.
Mhm.
He's a church member from Gravity Falls.
Yeah, yeah. I like that guy. He's funny. That's just the first one that really popped out at me.
I was just thinking like, oh, we could spend the rest of the time thinking about the backstory for Gideon
Yeah.
because we have nothing else.
Or he can, well, I'm going to throw you on it
It
here.
could be
He can be one of those mysterious characters that just pops out of nowhere and no one knows who he is. And he's just some like mysterious magical being that can rewrite the entire timeline.
Yes, but we will know the background. The players won't. I was just thinking like, oh, it sounds like a deal with the devil kind of thing.
He makes me think of a Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat doesn't have that much power though.
Oh, this is a homebrew, so it could be whatever we want.
Yeah. What race do you want him to be?
Oh, just like appearance-wise for the players?
Yeah.
Wood elf?
Wood elf?
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's the whole mysticism kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say I'm personally partial to tieflings, but wood elf works. And have like a really like almost wispy air about him.
Burn incense when they tell the story.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they think it's the incense that's doing it.
They're just high.
They're actually just high and nothing really changed.
And then he comes back and it's like, you're missing a hand. No, I wasn't high. That was real.
It's like, wait a sec. My hand's gone.
You have to be really mean to your players by actually doing something harsh in the first story. You have to improv a way to be harsh.
Harsh or the other way around. Like maybe they did lose their hand in that story originally, but the second time they went through it, they didn't lose their hand. And when they come back to present, they have their hand back. Oh my, type of thing.
Or that.
Yeah. Just a shock and awe, really.
But if they lose their hand, within that could also teach them the value of going back and rechanging what you just changed.
No, yeah, true.
Because then it's like, I need my hand back. And so then you start telling.
Tell me the story again.
Now, how did that story go again? Kind of like phrasing.
Yeah.
With like a eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
Lean forward. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
This is a short episode. I'm sorry. It's a good episode, I think, but it's a short one.
Yeah, we don't want to fluff it up too much with
well, we can't.
Inconsequential things. Like what kind of clothes does Gideon wear? Is Gideon a bard or a writer?
Well, this could easily be in a steampunk world. This could be a modern world. This could be any kind of tabletop RPG system.
That is true.
You just not have an elf, but
Yeah, he might just be
a
humanoid, but like maybe, I don't know, gaunt.
You could just wear a trench coat. He says, "What you buying?"
What are you buying?
I guess that wraps up our quest. Yeah. I think it's really good, but I don't think we're going to hear any updates on this for a very long time because this is a long form plan or heist.
If you do end up using it, though, I am very curious to hear what your character has changed.
Yes. Let us know what changes you made, what consequences, or anything like that. We would love to hear it. You could let us know down in the comments of this YouTube video, or you could message us on Blue Sky at Questboard. I was going to say pod, but no. Questboard for Blue Sky and Questboard Pod on X.
Yeah, there you go.
Now that we have like two different ones, I keep switching them in my head.
Oh, no.
But if you have a posting of your own that you want us to make a quest out of, let us know on any of those sites.
Woo.
And I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.